Hello everyone! I've made up my mind to record a series of podcasts in order to show you how our speech teaching method works so that you can learn languages faster and more efficiently. You may have noticed that we do not correct mistakes and probably at least once ask yourselves the question, why? If a student makes a mistake and repeats it many times, how can they get rid of this mistake if they don't even know that they make this mistake? Many people think that teachers' main responsibility is to help their students avoid making mistakes, and, well, I agree. But there is one very important detail. Helping students avoid making mistakes and correcting their mistakes are two completely different things. Our method has a long history. Almost 25 years of teaching, observation of our students, a profound analysis, and scientific research. Years ago, I used to correct my students' mistakes because I was sure I was helping them every single day. However, days turned into weeks, months turned into years, but I wasn't any closer to where I wanted to be. I wanted my students to speak really good English, without mistakes, but despite my correcting their mistakes, and despite their understanding of their mistakes, they just repeated them over and over again. Something was wrong. I realized that I wasn't helping my students get rid of their mistakes by correcting them. Now I know why. When someone says, "If I would have more time," instead of "if I had more time," this person makes a mistake. Why? Because for some reason he or she believes that this is the right way to express possibility. If a teacher explains to the student why this is a mistake, the student understands the reason, and the rule past simple instead of would have should be used. But there is a very long distance from understanding a problem to solving it. It may take even years. This is how our brain works. We create different patterns and live according to these patterns because we like them, and they seem to be good, but they don't have to be. I did an experiment with my hair comb. I used to put it away on the fridge after I combed my hair. I don't know why on the fridge, don't ask me. Anyway, one day my fridge broke down, so I had a new one delivered, a much larger one, with no room for my hair comb. So I was made to put away my hair comb to a shelf in the bathroom. Sounds very logical. Now, I know. The next morning I had a shower and reached for my hair comb. Guess where I reached? You're right, on top of the fridge. But it wasn't there. Funny, I thought, and went to the bathroom. Another day came. Guess where I reached for my hair comb? Yes, again on top of the fridge. After a week of reaching for my hair comb on the fridge, I started to feel more and more frustrated and angry. What the heck, I thought. I'm not stupid, and I know very well where my hair comb is. In the bathroom. So why do I keep going to the kitchen to reach for it? Believe it or not, but it took me a few weeks, or maybe even a month, to get rid of the mistake that I repeated every day. I'm sure each of you has had similar experiences. One day you change a place where something used to be, and it takes you weeks to get used to finding this something in the new place. You know why? This is how our brains work. Consciously, we know what and how we should do, but subconsciously we repeat the patterns installed in our mind, and it may take even years to change them. So you know now that instead of "if I would have more time," you should say "if I had more time," because your teacher explained to you how conditionals work. In other words, corrected your mistake. But will you be able to and not repeat this mistake when you speak English? No. You won't even notice that you repeat this mistake because, while speaking English, you focused on the topic of the conversation, not on this grammar issue. So you'll just keep using if I would have more time over and over again without realizing it. Because your consciousness is focused on the topic of the conversation, but grammar and vocabulary patterns exist in your subconsciousness, which you can't control. If you want to get rid of this one mistake, you would have to repeat the rule every day, like I repeated it with my hair comb on the fridge for a few weeks or even a month. But is it possible? What's the point of wasting time and correcting your mistake during the conversation if it's not going to help you? During one lesson, an average student talking to me makes thousands of mistakes, literally thousands. For example, I've been busy yesterday and I don't make my home leisure so good like you want. Is a sentence with a dozen of mistakes. One sentence only. So shall I interrupt my student and correct every mistake, explaining why it was made and how to avoid it? Just imagine a lesson where a teacher corrects every mistake, interrupting the student every time they say something. Sounds a bit like a lesson with an AI teacher, doesn't it? To make matters worse, correcting mistakes, even when it's wanted, has a very negative impact on the student's language confidence. We are humans, and Mother Nature has programmed us this way. We love being praised. Well done, I'm so proud of you, provides us with motivation and positive emotions. While every time your mistake is corrected, your language confidence suffers. Let's face it, you feel like an idiot in front of a master. We don't want our students, clients, friends to feel like idiots faced with masters. We want them to feel good and appreciated. That's why we focus on what someone has to say rather than how they say it. Fortunately, I'm not alone in my observations. Dominika, co-author of Speech Method and the second half of Speech Language Studio, is in full agreement with me. Just like me, she took many years to understand this mechanism, but she confirms everything I'm sharing with you today. Correcting mistakes doesn't bring any positive effects. Both of us strongly believe that our life mission is to help people learn languages and use them. Our main priority is to help you boost your language confidence and become fluent in English or any other language we know. Correcting mistakes doesn't help you make your English more English. However, there is a way how to get rid of mistakes. I'll share it with you in the next podcast coming soon. Thank you for listening.